My friend,
I am ready.
kick off this morning. Let's do this. All right. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Oh, and shout out to someone, John, for following me in the intro. Thank you so much. Love that. People should do that more often. Welcome to another Saturday morning. I got my coffee. It's Cafe BTW, a morning coffee gaming podcast. And as you see below, we got a brand new guest this week. We've been on a nice run of having some amazing people join the show. And Henry, who I've been working very hard on getting on the show, this is a long time coming, right, man? This is Game Tracks, who is a Twitch streamer right here on Twitch. What's up? What's up, Henry? How you doing, man? Good morning.
What's going on, man?
Ha-
Glad to be here. Finally.
Finally.
There's like all kinds of stuff trying to stop us from having this happen.
I know. I think the first time I had to go, I think I was going through some stuff, and I had actually taken a break from this, and then I think you got sick, and it's just great to have you, man. And also shout out, you joined in on our end of year Stand Up to Cancer stuff, so I've known you also through the charity work, and we just kind of talk on Twitter and stuff, and I've popped into a lot of your streams. And I guess just to kick things off, before we get into what you do on Twitch, I like to hit my guests with a simple question. And because this is a retro gaming podcast, what's your earliest memory or a story for you, Henry, that kind of has really brought you to the love of gaming and to this point? So, what's the kind of story you can kick things off with us today?
Oh man. So I'd say I've been playing games ever since I was old enough to pick up a controller. My brother got the original NES for Christmas, packed with Super Mario Brothers 3. And I didn't get to play it as much, but I used to play it every once in a while. And that's when I really started falling in love with video games. But what really kind of got me there was a couple of years later, my parents got me a Sega Genesis Model 2 with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 packed in.
Ooh.
And man, that's when it set off. That's when it set off right there because like the music, the graphics, the attitude, all that kind of stuff, man. It just made me fall in love with Sega. And ever since then, man, that's what it's been all about. I love video games, especially the retro stuff.
That's awesome. And I so would you say you're like a Sega fanboy, sort of? Like I'm sort of I lean
Yeah.
I'm happy to say that I lean towards a culture around Sega that I really enjoy. And on this show, we've definitely dived into, I mean, Nintendo's all over the history of gaming, right? But Sega
Hmm.
just has this really fun culture. And I actually have something really cool to talk about soon. But, you know, Henry, that's awesome. Now, I'd love to learn, just like, give us a little bit the 1-2 on how long you've been streaming, what's your connection to Twitch, and what do you do on Twitch and stuff like that.
Okay. So I started Twitch almost 4 years ago now, which is wild. I started with a laptop that was not a gaming laptop, no camera, crappy microphone, playing emulators. The first game I played on stream was Castlevania Circle of the Moon for the Game
Ooh,
Boy Advance.
wow.
And man, it was just funny because it was like one day I just wanted to start streaming because like a couple of people had told me on Instagram, they were like, hey, you should maybe start streaming. Because I don't know if I told you this, but I started Game Tracks as a YouTube channel first, where I was reviewing video game music. And, I just had such a hard time with it. And like, the editing and all that, it just took a lot of time. And like I said, someone suggested that I do Twitch. And I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. I can try it. I can talk and play games at the same time. That shouldn't be a big deal. And, I started there and everything just started kind of picking up over time. And once I was able to finally get a real, setup with camera, mic, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we were
Um,
talking about your nice lights back there. Look at that. Like, I love
yeah,
it. I
man. It's
love it.
like it's all coming together slowly but surely. Even after like 4 years, man, I'm very like if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of person. But I do like stuff to look nice and appealing.
And by the way,
It's
I
like a lot
have
of these things I've been using for years.
that's awesome, and everyone can see. I do have kind of like a video of a past stream of you streaming. And also, Genzo, can we drop Henry's link to Game Tracks on Twitch? I think if the command is, what is the command, Genzo? I always forget. Exclamation point guest. I don't know. He'll take care of it. It's tracks, exclamation point tracks to check out Game Tracks. Please give him a follow. And also, anyone from the Game Tracks community, welcome. And anyone on VOD, I always like to say hi to you because I see you too. Don't you worry. But dude, Henry, it's really great to have you. And I also wanted to say that I love your name. My dad's name was Henry, and I think it's a powerful name. It's a strong name, and I don't think enough people have it. It's not as popular anymore, so it's really nice to meet another Henry. By the way,
Thank you.
so
Yeah, every time people say that, I'm always like, yeah, it's a common, uncommon name.
it really is. It
Because
really
it
is.
really is, man. I think it's kind of one of those names that have aged, where it used to be popular at one point, but now it's not as popular anymore.
Yeah,
But definitely a strong name.
and shout out to Deactivated Styles. Welcome to the cafe, by the way. Hope you got
Yeah,
some
Proto Man
coffee.
and John
And
Jailer here. Welcome,
Proto
guys.
Man, welcome, John. Thanks all for coming by this awesome episode with my friend Henry here. So Henry, I like to kind of talk about some current events real quick before we get into everything, and I have something you're gonna love. So Metacritic, which you probably know is a famous review site, they don't just do
Mm-hmm.
video games; they do movies, all kinds of stuff. They did the top rated publishers of 2020, and guess who was in first place? Sega.
Wow.
Sega is the number one on Metacritic publisher ranking in 2020, and I think that is incredible. I think that's awesome, and that's why I wanted to segue. I'm glad you were talking about Sega because it segues to this. And obviously, Persona 5 and Yakuza have really help them. Do you have any connection to Persona series or anything like
I
that?
don't. The only thing I know about the Persona series is the music is outstanding.
And that's important too.
Right.
Number two for publishers is, let's see. Wait, why didn't it show it? Am I missing something? I don't like when they do it this style where I have to cycle through it. Oh, here we go.
They're trying to get you to get those ads to show.
That's weird. It's not even showing me them.
That is weird. You might have to just like refresh it or something when you go back.
Well, all I wanted to talk about was that Sega was number one. I think Capcom is three. I forgot
Oh,
who two
that
was.
wouldn't surprise me. Capcom's been coming for heads
And
lately.
they just released. Oh, here we go. Annapurna Interactive is number two.
Ooh,
Um,
what do they make?
I forget what they make actually, and
Yeah, I was gonna say I have no idea who that is. They
I
probably
should
just own a bunch of
I
companies like
should
Umbrella style.
I should know this. And let's see what they video games. This is the great thing about my show is I could just pull it up.
I know,
Um,
right? Power of the internet.
Weird. I wonder. I guess what games are they? I'm on their Twitter right now. Yeah, I guess they're big indie games or something. I can't tell you off even just by searching for them what they got here.
Yeah, man, they're just kind of they like I said, they're probably just
Here
like
we
one
go.
of those umbrella companies that just have a bunch of different small companies under their belt. Oh snap! They have it.
Here we
The
go.
great. What is that? The Artful Escape. I've played that actually. That game is pretty amazing. It's not out yet, but I can't wait till it comes out.
And I heard Stray is a new game that's coming out too.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, they got some stuff, man. That explains it.
Oh, Outer Wilds. I played Outer Wilds, and Telling
Uh,
Lies is a pretty good game.
oh, Journey's on there. Okay, so they are really big with
There we
indie
go.
developers. All
Journey's a
right,
good.
that's what it is. Yeah,
Journey's a very good game.
Donut County. That game has a super good soundtrack too.
Do you know what's cool about Donut County is that so in LA there's this development community. Think of it as like a WeWork for indie developers where
Hmm.
rent out a space. It's called Glitch City. I actually saw Donut County in this development studio before it became a sold game. So
Nice.
so I actually met the developer and played it at what they used to do these like game jam like kind of like I don't know mixers and we would like
Hmm.
check out everyone's games and to see this game become successful after meeting the developer, like before it was on the market, dude, the success of this game is really phenomenal. Look at all the game. It's on Steam, it's on the iPhone, it's on PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch. Really cool. I love this stuff. You know, I love
Dude, it's
indie.
amazing when it happens like that. It really is.
I love that.
You
So
deserve it, man.
so let's talk a little bit more about you, Henry. What's where and also I love your name, Game Tracks. So tell me about why Game Tracks and I know you have a connection to video game music. So I definitely want to touch on music just to get your feel and kind of your perspective on music and video games in general too.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, before I started Twitch, I started Game Tracks as a YouTube channel. It's funny because me and my best friend came up with that name. And even though it's not like, a super unique name, I just thought it was super feeling it was super what do you call it? It was just fitting. Yeah,
It's
fitting. I don't know why
fitting.
I said feeling.
It was
But yeah,
fitting.
super fitting. And I started as I was reviewing different video game songs, and I still have the YouTube channel up. It's kind of cringy now because it's so old. But one of the first games that I reviewed video game music for was Streets of Rage 2 for the Sega Genesis.
Ooh.
And man, that game is what made me completely fall in love with video game music. I didn't even own the game yet. I played it at a friend's house, and I was just blown away by the music quality. Like I had heard nothing like it. It just sounded so cool, and like it had such a robust type, like different genres of music in the game. And like, this was back before like, I wasn't really heavily exposed to like electronic music and stuff like that, and like funk and things like that. And Streets of Rage just kind of opened my ears and eyes to something I was never used to. Because I mean, even though Nintendo games, they had great quality of music too, but it didn't have that like umph that Streets of Rage 2 had. And oh man, it was great stuff. And I mean, a game soundtrack is going to be good when they put the composer on the front page
I know, that's really
on the
cool.
title screen. So
I have it right here. I'm actually like as you're talking, I'm like getting in just sucked into just the aesthetics and
uh,
and like I love, the funny thing about I'm looking at the food drops. Like you think of Final Fight and all the ways that you could get food in these games and the apples on the
mhm.
ground, and I think it's turkeys in Final Fight,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, you
Um,
get turkeys.
I need to do an episode on video game food one day. I really need to go down that rabbit hole.
Oh man.
So what do you think of, like, what do you think? Do you think video games would be anywhere they are today if it wasn't for music in the early days of retro gaming, like the important, like Zelda, for instance, on the NES, that iconic sound? Do you think that that's so crucial to the growth of video games in general?
Oh man, it is absolutely a massive part of the experience. It's funny because I tweeted something like this not too long ago about how important video game music is to games. I mean, you could play the same game, and if the soundtrack is like not if the soundtrack's not very good, then the game itself won't feel as great. I mean, something I was talking about, games like SSX Tricky and SSX
Ooh.
back in the day, they have dynamic music, and it is something else when you're like doing a trick and like all the music just kind of stops and fades out a little bit. The beat drop, the beat kind of fades out while you're doing the trick. And the minute you land, then everything just goes crazy. Like you got it's tricky, it's tricky.
It's
It's just, it's so crucial to the experience of video games, man. Music is definitely like, you got to have great music. And like I said, with older music, it's something about how they were able to do so much with so little. They had like, you know, kilobytes to work with to make these soundtracks memorable and great. And they were able to do it, on the Nintendo and the Sega Factor.
Dude, it's funny you brought up this game because I found this game on the street. Someone was like throwing it out.
What?
Yeah, and I was
Wow.
a full CIB, full CIB. I'm like, what is? I think it was like right before. It was like last January. It was SSX Tricky, and there was like another game. I just someone just had it on the sidewalk, And I know it.
Wow.
I'm not trying to sound disgusting, but when you see a video game, like just being tossed out or something, like
No, I would have grabbed
I'm
it.
not
I have
afraid to
no
grab it.
shame.
Sergeant Lone Wolf says Ghostbusters for NES. While I love the original song like most everyone else does, hearing it the entire game and nothing else just got to me. That and the game overall just wasn't good. And welcome, Sergeant
Welcome,
Lone Wolf.
Sergeant. Welcome in, man.
Thank you so much for stopping by. Um, that's so cool. I was like I mentioned, Daytona USA had amazing music. Mega Man, there was lots of Mega Mans that had great music. Just the iconic music you think of, even just like Super Mario Brothers, like, and I don't mean to just nitpick like the generic, like, but they're the iconic ones as kids. I just remember listening to all this amazing music, and
Yeah, it's
they
like if you can't tell me that like the minute you mention a game like from that series that it doesn't pop in your head immediately. Like the music pops in your head right away. It's like muscle memory.
it's amazing. I love video game music. And that being said, so you also, my friend, are very much into modding, and that's kind of the main theme today. And before we get into like a lot of the detail, I want to know, what kind of modding do you do? Do you do a lot of hardware modding? Do you do a lot of software modding? What is the whole scope of what you do? And I have your Instagram up, so I'm gonna cycle through some photos as you're talking.
Yeah, go for it. Man, so modding is brand new. Like this is something I just started doing. I started doing this, I want to say in August of last year, and I'll tell you a quick story of why I did it.
We love
But
stories.
yeah, so basically, man, everyone knows last year was rough. Like it was a rough year for everybody with the pandemic and
Of
everything
course.
going on. And unfortunately, I lost my job. I worked in a
Sorry to
retail
hear
corporate
that.
setting. Yeah, no worries, man. But I worked in a retail corporate setting, and they sold clothing, and of course, people, the stores weren't open because people couldn't go shopping in them, so they couldn't keep everybody. So sadly, I was let go. But the thing is, man, it's one of those situations where like everything kind of happens for a reason, because once that happened, our job took care of us. They paid us for a certain amount of time and stuff like that, and I was doing okay financially. So I was like, you know what, I need to find things to do, especially since we were stuck in the house. And I remember back in like 2002, I bought a Game Boy Advance, and it was the first system I ever bought with my own money. Like I traded in a whole bunch of stuff to get it and saved up to get it. And yeah, it was my first handheld system that I bought myself. And I was like, man, it would be really cool to have like a physical Game Boy Advance again. So I started looking at OfferUp and found one for like $40, and I was like, holy crap, that's cheap. So I ended up grabbing it, and when I tried to play it, I realized, man, I can't see anything on this thing. Like, how did I do this? Like, I'm sitting there trying to play it, and I could not see, like, even in proper lighting, I couldn't see anything. And I'm like, I don't know how the hell I did this. So then I was like, I remember back in the day, the people were like modding them. They were putting backlights or front lights in them and stuff like that to make them so you could see. And so I was like, I wonder if they're still doing this. So, I start looking it up, and I ended up finding a couple of sites that actually do modding for Game Boy Advances. And I was like looking at the process and everything, and then I just started kind of getting like memories from childhood, because like when I was really little, I used to like taking apart things and trying to fix them, and it just kind of struck that I was like, man, I could do this. Like I have time to do it, and I think I could do this, because I didn't know how to use a soldering iron or any of that stuff yet. So I taught myself like how to do all that. YouTube is freaking
I
phenomenal for
know.
like learning things. But man, I ended up buying the kit, and I did my first mod live on Twitch. Like I didn't even practice first. I literally just did the whole thing on Twitch and immediately fell in love with it. I was like, man, I have to find a reason to do this again. Um, and so what I ended up doing is on my Twitch channel, I set up a thing where it was like a donation goal, where every time I hit my donation goal, I'll give away a Game Boy Advance to whoever has, enough, like, whoever has raffles. I'll do a random raffle and just pick it out like that.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
yeah, I wanted to keep it going. But dude, I've modded,
Ooh.
like I actually have all of my Game Boys with me. I brought them over here. But
Yeah.
the first one I modded was this one right here, which is my
Oh,
white
nice.
personal build. And then I have the second one I did, which was this Game Boy Color, which has
Ooh.
become one of my favorites now, but I modded this one recently. And then the latest one I just did was my classic DMG here,
Ooh.
which is pretty nice too. And I'm gonna do a pocket here in a couple of weeks. So
That's
I've
awesome,
been I've
man.
been really busy with the modding scene. But yeah, dude, all these Game Boys that you're seeing are from customers. That's another thing that just kind of happened. I didn't plan on selling them to people outright, but then I had a couple people reach out to me and they were like, "Hey, dude, do you just sell these?" And I was like, "I can." And so next thing you know, I started, custom building them for customers, and it just started kind of taking off from there.
So wait, so you actually build them for people and sell them?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah, that just kind of
we
started
need
out
to
of
talk.
nowhere.
We need to talk. So if I, so Henry, if I found like a Game Boy Color in like my retro store, I could ship that to you and you do like a custom mod for me.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is with the
Oh,
Game Boy
what?
Advance is I actually provide the hardware. So literally all you have to do is just pay and then I'll pretty much put it together. But so far I've done like I think over like 20 Game Boys so
Ooh,
far between people winning them, people buying them, and a couple of personal builds that I've done on my own.
that's awesome, dude.
But yeah, dude, I love it. It's great, and it's made me want to get into different modding as well. Like, one like bigger project that I'm working on is modding a GameCube, but I haven't
Whoa,
done that one yet.
that'd be dope. And I do want to say that I don't have a lot of modded stuff, but I showed you off the screen. This is my modded original Game Boy that has a backlit screen and it's adjusted so that I could hear the music a little bit louder on this thing.
Hmm.
But what did I use this for? And I told you, Henry, I used it for chip tunes. So I actually created music on my mod. That's my connection to modding was making chip tunes, right?
Right, right.
And I have another Game Boy as well, so I'd like mix it up. But I I want to ask you, and by the way, this is like incredible. Like, and everyone check out if you go to his Twitch, follow his Twitch, and then check out his socials, his Instagram, uh, Game Tracks' Instagram has a ton of really cool photos of all these different mods. I love this green Game Boy.
Yeah, I
That's
actually
that's a
did
cool
that.
one.
Yeah, that one, man, that was pretty difficult to put together, to be honest, because that was one of the first builds I've done with the original shell. So whenever you do original shell builds, you have to go in there and start doing some cutting and stuff to make sure that that screen fits in there. But I did that for one of my good friends, Pocket Full of Games, who's actually trying to become the he's trying to have the largest private owned collection of video games right now, which is just absolutely nuts.
What? I'm on his
Yeah,
Instagram right now.
yeah. Currently, he has over like 10,000 games. It's insane.
What? Well, shout out to
Wait, is yeah,
Pocket
yeah.
Full of
Pocket's
Games.
awesome,
Whoa, look at all the Xbox games he has. Holy
dude. It's like
crap.
a freaking GameStop in his house.
That's the dream. That's the dream,
Dude,
you
I
know?
know, right? It's freaking nuts.
That's the dream. I did want to showcase. So there's a documentary called Reformat the Planet, and it talks about chip
Ah,
tuners. I recommend it highly.
I gotta
Um,
watch that.
this documentary literally motivated me to do chip tunes. So it came out, I think it's a 2013, 2014 documentary. So, it's like skews a little older, but it shows you that I had a dream, Henry, to be a original Game Boy DJ, like a chiptunes DJ. Like,
Nice.
you look at and let me I'll share the link here for YouTube in chat. This is the documentary Reformat the Planet, which focuses mainly on the original Game Boy mods that you would use to make and play amazing music. And I don't know if you know how it works. There's a company that created a cartridge, and I have it behind me. I should have had it closer. And what it does is it creates an operating system in order to turn your Game Boy into a music machine. So you learn how to change notes. But what I love about it is that it's literally like you can DJ on your Game Boy in real time. Like you're literally changing notes. You're literally using it as an instrument. And that is something that I love, and I wish I would get back into it. I do have an album, and I'll share it on Twitter after the show. I made 6 songs, um,
Nice.
and it's called, and I told you, but it's called Kill Boosh, Journey into the Boosh. Um, and it's the only music I ever made because you know what, Henry, I was not musically inclined in high school and growing up. Couldn't,
Hmm.
I I couldn't like I tried to take guitar lessons, and for some reason, and I think this is true, some people just can't connect with physical instruments. Like I just couldn't do it. I
It's
don't
tough. It's really tough.
I don't know if it's because I have extreme ADHD and I couldn't sit still and like learn, but I finally connected with an instrument with the Game Boy. I felt like, holy crap, I made this music. So that's really my connection. So, what do you think of how people use not not these handhelds or systems for emulators, but making music? What do you
Dude,
think
you
of
know what's
that?
funny about that is another thing I've done in the past with video game music is before I was Game Tracks, I just opened up a YouTube channel and put my own video game music on there. And what I did is I would sample music and just add my own beat to it from like other video games.
No way.
And it's funny because I actually have some of that stuff on YouTube too, which is from way back, man. I think that stuff is like almost 10 years old, if not older now. But yeah, dude, I would just chop up samples and try to make beats out of them. And one of the things that kind of inspired me to do that was I don't know if you own the Game Boy camera, but the Game Boy camera
No, I not
has
anymore. As a kid, I did. Yeah.
dude, it has this little mini game in there where you can be a DJ and you can make your own music, like you can make your own little beat on there. And dude, I used to mess around like the loop would only be like 3 or 4 seconds. Like it was super duper short, probably
Right.
shorter than that. But you can make these little beats and you can like make them fade in, fade out, and like do some little scratching here and there. Dude, I used to play on that so much. That kind of inspired me to mess around with video game music as well. So yeah, dude.
That's
It's like
awesome.
I'm all for it. Like I love it when people, it's especially take like 8-bit, 16-bit music and just kind of, make it their own. It's dope. Especially like these indie developers, man. There's some indie developers that make chiptune music and it's on like a whole nother level. Like there's this one game that I watched a streamer play recently called God, what is it called? World of it's a horror game. I want to say it's called World of Horror or something like that. And man, it has a freaking killer soundtrack. Like it is absolutely absurd.
Is it this black
Um
and white one?
yes, this is it. World of
Oh,
Horror.
cool.
Dude, listen to the music in this game. It is absolutely insane. And the whole art style is like this old school computer kind of black and white style, but the music in this game is phenomenal, dude. It's got that whole 8-bit aesthetic going on for it.
I love it. This is cool. Actually, you know what's funny? I think I saw this on Steam last night. It was on sale, and I was like really interested in it. This is like
Mm-hmm.
really random that you brought it up. It's
Yeah, no, dude, it's like my music taste rolls deep
ah, I love
with the
this.
video game music. There's so much.
This is
But
really
yeah, dude,
cool.
it's killer.
Oh my god. Okay. Crazy. So, is there any like ridiculous like I see like people modding ridiculous things all the time?
Oh man, it gets crazy, dude. It gets absolutely insane.
Like I guess do you think the modding community has grown or just keeps growing, I suppose, but
Oh my god, it has even from the time I've started doing it, it's just grown phenomenally, dude. A lot of people are stuck at home with nothing else to do. So, people get curious and start tinkering and stuff like that. And man, the modding scene has grown so much, especially in the handheld space. Because to be real, it's not that difficult to do. As long as you can pick up soldering pretty well, it's not that difficult, man. Like these screens have gotten to the point where they're like drop in and you're ready to go.
right. Wow. Yeah, like I think that you're right. I also think that accessibility now where you can like people on eBay and what OfferUp and all those places are selling like casings. And
Hmm.
I think, and is Etsy a big place to go for mods? Do people go on Etsy?
I've
Etsy?
seen people open up Etsy shops for their mods and stuff. But yeah, dude, Etsy, eBay, all those different places. Like most of my stuff is just straight up word of mouth, like from Twitch and Instagram and Twitter.
That's
Like I don't
awesome.
have my own shop or anything because it's still something I just do for fun.
That's awesome, man. So, what do you think? So, do you mess with modding software?
I've never modded software before. Um, I've heard there's ways to do it. Like I know there's people are soft modding PS Vitas and stuff like that are a lot.
Whoa,
But
really?
yeah, oh, you know, I take that back. I have soft modded a system before, but this was
Oh,
before I even knew what modding really was. And I want to say the PSP was the first system I soft modded before because that was one of the downfalls of the PSP was the fact that it was so easy to, you know, get backups of games on a memory card and play them directly from there. You could even play emulators and stuff like that on there. It was pretty intense, and Sony kept trying to come up with firmware that would make it to where you can't play that, but then like people would just hack it again.
that's
And
amazing. Do you remember Tengen games?
yes, I remember Tengen games,
So,
black and
Tengen's,
gold cartridges.
yep. I'm going to read this verbatim. In 1988, Tengen released its first and only three games licensed by Nintendo: RBI Baseball, Pac Man, and Gauntlet. Meanwhile, Tengen secretly worked to bypass Nintendo's lockout chip called the 10 NES that gave it control over which games were published for the NES. And that's when they started to develop random games without Nintendo's permission. So it's I wanted to bring it up because it's a really important part of kind of like software modding and breaking the rule of like going around the publisher and the developer to create games that, you know, weren't controlled by them. But honestly, there was a big lawsuit, and Tension Games, I believe they lost, but it's really phenomenal that it goes as far back as then. And also they developed really good games. Like RBI Baseball was a really good game. Gauntlet was a really good game. But I just think it's really interesting. The famous, you know, Tengen cartridges. I don't know if I have any Tengen games anymore. Do you have any Tengen games?
I do not.
I wonder if they're. I'm sure they're not as cheap as they used to be. But I used to see them everywhere. I swear I used to see them everywhere, and I know that I had a bunch of them.
Yeah,
Um,
no, they were very common, super common at that.
so what's the whole deal with the Raspberry Pi? You
You know
know,
what?
what is the
I'm
deal?
Yeah, I mean, that's based in my opinion. I don't know a whole lot about it, but from what it seems like, it's basically just a really small form factor, um, emulating machine. That's basically what it's for. You can put any kind of console on there, as long as you got the memory card space for it, put whatever you need on there and then set it up and play. Um, Me personally, like most of the emulators I've used have just been directly on my PC, but lately I've been trying to get more into actually playing real hardware since I don't know, a lot of people are intimidated by like collecting old hardware and stuff like that, but to be honest, it's not that expensive if you know where to look. If you know where to look, like I found a freaking Sega Genesis, the Model 2 that I got recently, got it for like $20. So you look hard enough, you can find stuff for a pretty good price.
So I, I'm I'm gonna ask the big question, right? Because I'm a retro collector. I love tangible items, right?
Right.
And Proto Man says the Pi is just a tiny computer that lets you do all kinds of things. That makes
Mm-hmm.
sense, and you can fit it into little spaces, so it works good for modding. But there's an argument to be had here, and the argument is, you know, to emulate or not to emulate. That is the question, Henry.
Right.
Do you think that there? And I think there are people that believe they don't want to play emulators. They don't want one box that has 2,000 games. They want to collect the games. They want to play them in their original form. What do you think of that whole argument? Because I think there's some to both sides. There's a good argument there.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because people can be really snobby about it. Like, most of the games that I've played on Twitch have been, through emulators, and thankfully, I'm fortunate enough to not get hate for that. But I've heard people, spew it, where they're just like, oh, you shouldn't be playing emulators, oh, you should get on the original hardware, yada yada yada. But here's my honest opinion on
Okay.
it. Games that most people emulate are old. I'm not too big on like emulating new stuff like Switch and PS4, even PS3. Like that to me, that's a little too new. I think emulating stuff that's usually about 20 years or older is 100% acceptable. And the reason I say that is because it's all about gaming preservation at the end of the day. Some companies just don't make it easy to play these games anymore. Like Nintendo, for instance, it took them years, literal decades to finally release something that was officially by Nintendo to give you access to play these games. And that was like the SNES Mini, you know, the older virtual consoles and stuff like that. That's cool too, but the main issue with that is like once the digital store goes down, you can't re-download your games, which is a whole nother argument in itself. But yeah, no, I'm all for emulation, man. It's all about game preservation. If people can find a way to access these classic games that they may have never heard of before, then I'm all for it. I really am.
Um,
Um,
Proto Man says some emulators are not perfect from my experience, but you shouldn't turn your nose up to it as it's like GT said for game preservation and access.
Exactly. And that's the thing, if you really want to play a game in its purest form, then of course, try your best to get access to the original hardware and software. But not everyone wants to spend, you know, $500 on a freaking game. Like for instance, my Sega Saturn, one of my friends, Zenji hooked me up with a way to play burnt games on the Sega Saturn. And it's kind of like it gives people mixed opinions because like, all right, you're playing all these burnt games, but it's like for me, it's more of like a sampler because like, man, I want to play these games and try them out, and then I can eventually find them and have the real thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean that's what it is. If it's not very accessible, then you have to have another way to play it. I mean, heck, when you think about it, like even companies like or services like PS Now, you can download certain games that cost like a fortune, like hard copy. Like for instance, Klonoa is like super duper expensive, but you can download it on. Well, you could download it on PS Now for like $15 or something like that.
Yeah, I will be honest with you. I'm one of those like tangible guys. Like I showed you
hmm
my Saturn,
Yeah,
See
yeah,
this?
no doubt.
I can knock on this.
Yeah, exactly. You can pick it up.
I
You
can
can.
pick it up. I can look at it. Um, I like to say though that I don't know if you ever done like Secret Santa on Imager or Reddit. Have you ever done like so Secret Santa? So Imager does a Secret Santa where you get randomly generated a user on Imager that you have to buy them a gift for Secret Santa, and it tells you what they're into. And this guy sent me an emulator. It has 2,000 games. It has a lot of cool stuff on it, and I must say, now that I kind of have one, it's very useful to play games that maybe I don't own. But I have a CRT TV back there, and being able to connect my Dreamcast, right, and play Crazy Taxi on a CRT TV is pretty cool.
Dude, it's amazing.
So
It's
do you
Go
think
ahead.
what's your feelings with the other side of the coin about playing that's preservation too, by owning the actual games, taking care of them, holding on to them, playing them in their original form? That's preservation. So
That is true.
what do you think of the other side of it? Like what's the
Oh man, like I said, this year I got into video game collecting. Just because for the longest time I just thought it was so, inaccessible. I thought it was just so expensive and all this kind of stuff. But then when I really started doing real research, I realized it's not that expensive, And I was fortunate enough to get a CRT myself this year. Uh, Someone literally just gave me one, dude. I got so lucky. But I got a CRT this year, and like I hooked up my Dreamcast to it, and it was just like a flood of like nostalgic emotions that just hit me because I was like, dude, I remember when this was it. We're all spoiled by all these like HDR, 4K, high refresh rate TVs. But back in the day, man, we had those scan lines in that box, playing games and experiencing them that way. And it's funny because like some games are even are an even better experience playing that way, like through the CRT. Man, you get that like zero input lag. It's great for like fighting games. It's just so bright and vivid. The colors, like
Yeah.
it's awesome, man. It almost looks better than you remember it looking back in the day.
Yeah, dude. I also wanted to mention that, people are now making games for the old systems.
Exactly.
And I'm pulled up some NES games that people are making. Eskimo Bob. Never heard of it,
Interesting.
but people are using NES discs and oh, JK40, what up? You can't play GoldenEye on anything else.
There you go.
Okay. Fair enough, fair enough, fair enough. Um, but I love how there's this like, all right, maybe we won't emulate on a Raspberry Pi, but let's take the actual original console and make games again for it. I think that's really cool. I think that's like a really interesting side of this whole deal. Um,
Dude. Oh
yes,
yeah. So there's a game, speaking of,
yes.
making games for older systems. There's a game, I don't know if you've ever played it before. It is called Xeno Crisis. And it was recently created for the Sega Genesis, the Dreamcast. It's also on Xbox Game Pass. Uh, and
Is this it
it
right
is
here?
this is
Xenocrisis?
it.
Okay.
This is it, man. It's a twin stick shooter. And this game is
Ooh. Like
phenomenal,
Smash TV style kind of shooter.
basically. But it is hard as balls, dude. It is a tough game. It is very difficult. But one thing that stands out to me a lot, and I'm going to kind of go back to it, is the music itself. The music is some of the best music I've ever heard on Sega Genesis hardware, and that's even comparing it to Streets of Rage 2. But
Ooh.
it is an incredibly beautiful, and the game just sounds amazing. And they made this game with the intention of releasing it on a Sega Genesis. And the thing is, there's a whole like little mini documentary about the development of this game. And man, I played it on stream recently, and it's super addictive. But the music itself is just stupid good. Like you
Is
gotta hear it.
is it multiplayer?
It is. It's two player.
Oh
Yeah,
my
it's definitely
god.
two player. Unfortunately, you can't play it online with anyone, but it's really hard to play with the real Sega Genesis because it's a twin stick shooter. So you have to like hold certain buttons to like rotate certain ways. But if you play it on like get Game Pass, then it's a whole lot easier to play because you play it like a traditional twin stick shooter.
This is
But
cool.
it's a great game, man.
Damn, man. I need to buy. Oh, so wait, it's on Game Pass.
It's
I
on
don't
Game
I don't
Pass.
need to buy it then. I could
You don't
download
need to
it.
buy it. That's the beauty of Game Pass, man. I'm honestly gonna try to get this on Genesis though. I want to get the Genesis because it comes with like the whole like old school Genesis jewel case and everything. I want to play this on that hardware.
So you're saying that you could buy it in like here, wait, let me see if I can find
Yep,
what you
you could buy this
Oh,
on the Dreamcast and
whoa.
the Sega Genesis,
That's
and it runs
cool.
on real hardware. It's dope.
Oh, whoa.
Yep.
And I have my Genesis, so holy
Yeah, same. I just got mine, so it's like, yep. Now I got to go pick this up.
Oh yeah,
I know it's pricey, but dude, it's so worth it.
oh my god, they have a is that a Neo Geo one?
They have a Neo Geo one
Are
too,
you
dude.
serious?
Yep.
They have the big cartridge? That is insane, dude.
The
What?
game did well, man. If it's on Game Pass, then Microsoft shelled out that dough for it.
Damn, that's pretty neat. But I'm one of like the only people that had an actual Neo Geo console at home. I was very
Oh
lucky.
wow.
We bought it used at Funkoland. I don't know if you know Funkoland
Oh
or
dude, I loved Funko Land back in the day.
dude, Funkoland was the
That's
best.
where I bought my Game Boy Advance
Oh, really?
from Funko Land back then.
Funkoland. You know how did they have the sheets that would tell you the prices like you'd walk
Yep.
in?
Yep.
So
Yep.
my retro store game dude that I mentioned does the same thing. They have these racks. It says like, Nintendo, NES, and you pull it up and you look at the games and so you know what the prices are.
Hmm.
I still have that experience by going
Oh,
into
that's
game
great.
dude.
That's so
Um,
great.
yeah, dude. Any as we're coming close to the hour here, man, it's been like freaking phenomenal to like walk through this kind of side of video games with you, and I think I might take you up on, you know, see getting a mod from you. And of course, I want to pay you because I that's supporting, and I
Of
want to
course.
talk to you. I want to talk to you about that because I'd love to like get one from you and then feature it on the show and then show it on, to support you and that you're doing this thing, because modding can help you make some extra money on the side.
That is
Because
true. I mean,
because
that's another reason I got into it. It was like, hey, I like doing this, and I mean, if I can make a little extra money doing it on the side, then it works. But once again, that was never the intention, was to like make money doing it. But of course, to support it, I can't do this for free.
That's
There's no
funny.
way. I'm not rich.
Well, Henry, I like to I first off I want to thank you for sitting through this morning with me, and it's been like
Oh,
really.
dude, this has been fun.
All right,
I can't
cool.
even believe it's already been like almost an hour.
Yeah, and I always tell my
It's
guests,
flown by.
yeah, like we could talk for so long and go down the, the rabbit holes of just gaming in general, but we keep it a show, we keep it tight, we keep it a
Right,
nice
right.
hour. But I do like to give away a game at the end of the show, and today's game I'm giving away is some random humble bundle game that I have. It looks, what is it called? A Hot Shot Racing.
Actually, I have
Everybody,
this game.
how is this game, Henry? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
It's fun, man. I'm a sucker for like any game that has like hardcore drifting in it, because like I'm a huge Ridge Racer fan, man. And I miss games like that, like just arcade racers in general, like Burnout and stuff like that. I just miss them. And whenever I see games like this, it takes me back to that real simple, fun experience. And I like how it has like the whole virtual racer aesthetic, or yeah, virtual racer aesthetic to it. It's a fun game, actually.
That's awesome. Well, and I'm also, I know this is a big deal. I'm also, because people keep talking it, I have NFTs for my podcast. I don't know if you know what NFTs are, Henry,
I
but
do not. That I'm not familiar with.
so they're called non-fungible tokens. So these are digital items and art that I give to you for free, and it's on the blockchain. So you have full ownership of some Cafe BTW NFTs, and I'll send you the link. If you don't know what they are, I'm giving you one anyway. So you're gonna
Thanks,
win.
man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be giving, because I give all my guests one, so I'm gonna be giving you one, Henry, and then I'm gonna be giving the person that wins the game. Now, I really suck at setting up these giveaway bots, but if you put BTW in chat, lowercase BTW in chat, you can enter to win the game and the NFT. So if you lurkers want to put BTW in chat, or as many people, and if there aren't enough, then I might do it a different way. I might just roll the users. Actually, forget the BTW thing. I'm gonna roll the users. Hold on. I think that would be better, because I don't really set these up. Biff wins all the time, by the way. This guy in chat, he wins all the time. So let's see here. I wonder if I could do this right. I'm really bad at this stuff. Here we go. I'm bad at giveaways, Henry. All
Dude, I
right.
feel that. I'm the same way.
I don't know
I'm
anything.
so like
I think.
definitely not on that pro streamer life.
All right. Let's see if Biff Bufflington wins for the third time in a row, maybe. All right. I'm gonna roll it. All right. Who? We got JK40. All
JK47.
right. Someone else besides
Hey, got a
Biff.
new winner.
Nice
There you
job,
go.
by the way, JK. You are the winner of this wonderful game. It's a Steam code, by the way. It's Hotshot. It's Hotshot Racing, and thank God Biff did not win today. Um,
Biff's just like, oh.
he's won many times. Also, I did, to end the show, Henry, I put in a vote poll on Twitter: video game emulators versus the real thing. 31% said they prefer the real thing. 6.9% said I love emulators, and 62.1 overwhelming majority say I'm okay with both. So there you
That
go.
is actually nice, because I bet you if you'd have done that like maybe 5 years ago, it would have been bad. Because people, like I said, man, people have frowned on emulators for the longest time. But once again, man, if it's super hard for you to, because not everyone has a retro store, not everyone has access to internet, not everyone has, you know, money to spend on all these games. So if you can play, like if I can expose retro games to a community through emulators, and I'm all for it, because guess what? I was that person, before, once I got games consoles and weren't able to afford, everybody hits a rough patch in their life. And, I wasn't able to afford, game consoles and stuff like that. But then I ended up finding out about consoles I never even knew about. And then I ended up finding about games I've never even played before. And now that's inspiring me to go back and hunt for those games now, with real software and real hardware. So I would say emulation inspired me
Wow.
to, start buying, actual hardware.
That's interesting. I love that. That's a great POV and an excellent way to close out today's show. But before, Henry, can you just like tell us where to find you and all that fun stuff? And I know that we just threw it in chat. You could see the link to his Twitch and chat as well. But just, tell us where to find you, man.
Yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/game tracks. I usually try to stream every weekend, Friday through Sunday. I play mostly retro games. We do mods. We give away these Game Boy Advances. By the way, we have raffles for those every month. I also have my Twitter page, Twitch or what is it? Twitter,
Here we go. It's
twitter.tv
Twitter Game
Game
Tracks
Tracks 2285. Yeah.
2285 right here.
I don't know my own Twitter handle, but I try to stay as active on there as possible too. If you want to know when I stream next there, I have a Discord channel, of course, Game Tracks, Instagram, Game Tracks. So pretty much almost all the social medias, you can just find me through Game Tracks. So yeah.
Awesome, dude. JK has a quick question for you. Is Henry in audio production? I missed the beginning. Are you in
Oh
it?
no. I am not, but it's funny, a lot of people have confused that because of the whole Game Tracks name. They think that I make video game music, but no, it's just I love video game music.
So I also want to just say, Henry, it's been awesome finally getting this done. It's been awesome also, like just getting to know you through, whether it's just talking on Twitter, supporting each other, and also coming in to support our Stamp to Cancer event, which was really cool. Biff says, GG guys. I think this has been an excellent episode. I wanna have you back, man. And I'm gonna figure out who we're gonna raid here, and I'm gonna raid a good friend of the show. Well, I guess I'm more of a friend of hers because she's awesome. We're gonna go to Show Tiger, who we've raided many times, but we're gonna raid her again today.
No doubt.
She is an awesome variety streamer. She plays a lot of scare games, and
Oh
she
snap.
screams really loud. She screams really loud when she does. So let's give it up for her when we head over there, everybody. Also, anyone new from the Game Track community or anyone on VOD, please check out our Discord. Genzo, can you throw it in there one more time? The Cafe BTW Discord is available. I'm trying to grow our little community. It's available. I also do on Clubhouse. Henry, I don't know if you ever heard of Clubhouse. I do what's called Retro Gaming Talks. And shout out to Rock and Roller, who was just in the chat. It's basically a conversation I have every Friday night on there. And the only rule in Retro Gaming Talks, Henry, is that you have to share an early gaming memory. And we sit for about an hour and a half, and we just talk about retro games in a very casual way on Clubhouse. So that is another thing that we have in our Discord. Biff says Genzo can do anything, I'm convinced. Rock and roll geek says good show. And let's start the raid. Henry, happy Saturday. I hope this was a
Same
good
to you, man.
good
Thanks for having me, dude. This
yeah.
was an absolute blast.
No.
I'm always down to come back for sure.
All right, cool. And that being said, everyone, all my socials and all the things are below. Check out my Twitter, my TikTok. I go live on TikTok. So Henry, this whole time I've been live on TikTok. So thanks everyone on TikTok for chilling as well. I love doing podcasting. Henry, we've been very consistent. I'm going on almost, I think, a year and a half of doing this, and just hang in there. We're the cafe.
Yeah, keep it up, man. Keep it up.
The cafe.
You're doing great.
Thanks, man. Remember, everyone, be kind and wash your hands. Let's check out Show Tiger. All right.